To R.K. by Henry Louis Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Prophet of brawn and bravery, bard of the fighting man, you have made us kneel to a God of steel and to fear his church's ban. You have taught the song that the bullet sings, the knell at the crowning ode of kings, the ne'er denied appeal. Prophet of brain and handicraft, bard of our grim machines, you have made us dream of a God of steam, and you have shown us what his worship means. In the clanking rod and the whirring wheel, a life and a soul your songs reveal, and power and might supreme. Bard of the East and mystery, singer of those who bow to the earthen clods that they call their gods, and with godlike fees endow. You have shown that these heed not the suppliant's plea, nor the prayers of the priest and devotee, nor the vestal's futile vow. Singer, we ask what we cannot learn from our wise men and our schools. Will our offered slain from our gods obtain but the old reward of fools? Will our man-made gods be like their kind? If we bow to a clod of clay enshrined, will we pray our prayers in vain? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Song of the Olden Time by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by Drew Conway, Kent. Powder and shot now fight our fights, and we meet our foes no more, as face to face our fathers fought in the brave old days of yore. To the 13-inch and the needle gun, to the she-cat 4.3, we look for help when the war dogs yelp and the foe comes over the sea. Oh ho for the days of the olden time, when a fight was a fight of men, when lance broke lance and arm met arm, there were no cowards then. Sing ho for the fight of the olden time, when the muscles swelled in strain, as the steel found rest in a brave man's breast, and the axe in a brave man's brain. The lance point broke on the armour's steel, and the pike crushed helmet through, and the blood of the vanquished, warm and red, stained the victor's war steed too. A fight was a fight in the olden time, sing ho for the days begone, and a strong right arm was the luckiest charm when the foe came marching on. Oh ho for the days of the olden time, when a fight was a fight of men, when lance broke lance and arm met arm, there were no cowards then. Sing ho for the fight of the olden time, when the muscles swelled in strain, as the steel found rest in a brave man's breast, and the axe in a brave man's brain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Spanish Main by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by DebK. Between the tangle of the palms, there gleaming like a star-strewn plain, all smiling lies the sea of calms, and calls to us to fare amain, and calls us as with smile and gem she called that bold, upstanding brood, whose bones, when she had done with them, upon her shores she strewed. Between the tangle of the palms, by day the gleam is on the swell, and drifting zephyrs bearing balms her tales of joy and riches tell, and when the winds of night are free, long glimmering ripples wander by, as if the stars were in the sea, instead of in the sky. And they went forth in ships of war, girt up in all foolhardiness, to take their toll from out her store, beguiled and snared by her caress. And we go forth in cargo ships to wrest her treasures bloodlessly, and buy the nectar from her lips, our fairy goddess she. Where once their galleons blundered by, our cargo ships are on their way, and where their galleons rotting lie, our cargo ships are wrecked today. forever, till the world is done, and all good merchantmen go down, and dies the wind as pale as the sun, her smile will mask her frown. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Transport General Ferguson by H. L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by DebK. The Transport General Ferguson, she left the Golden Gate, with 1,000 rookies sweatin' in her hold, and the sergeants drove and drilled them, and the sun it nearly killed them, till they learned to do whatever they were told. The Transport General Ferguson, she lay at Honolulu, and the rookies went ashore and roughed the town, so the sergeants they corralled them, and with butt and barrel quelled them, and they limped aboard and set to fry and brown. The Transport General Ferguson, she steamed toward the south, and the rookies sweated morning, noon, and night, till the lookout sighted land, and they cheered each grain of sand, for their blood was boilin' over for a fight. The Transport General Ferguson, she tied up at the dock, and each rookie lugged his gun and kit ashore, and a train it came and took 'em where the tropic sun could cook 'em, and the sergeants they could talk to them of war. The Transport General Ferguson, she had her bottom scraped, for the first part of her labor it was done, and the rookies chased the Tagals, and the Tagals they escaped, and the rookies set and sweated in the sun. The Transport General Ferguson, she loafed around a while, and the rookies they were soldier boys by now, for it don't take long to teach 'em, where the Tagal lead can reach 'em, all about the which and why and when and how. The Transport General Ferguson, she headed home again, with 1,000 heavy coffins in her hold. They were soldered up and stenciled, they were numbered and blue-penciled, and the rookies lay inside 'em, stiff and cold. The Transport General Ferguson, she reached the Golden Gate, and the derrick dumped her cargo on the shore. In a pyramid they piled it, and her manifest they filed it, in a pigeon-hole with 100 more. The Transport General Ferguson, she travels up and down, a-haulin' rookies to and from the war. Outward bound they sweat in khaki, homeward bound they come in lead, and they wonder what they've got to do it for. The Transport General Ferguson, she's owned by Uncle Sam, and maybe Uncle Sam could tell 'em why, but he don't, and so he takes 'em out to fight and sweat and swear, and brings them home for plantin' when they die. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A War Song by H. L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by Conway, Kent. The wounded bird to its blasted nest sing ho for the joys of war. When the sun of its life is over to the west, sing ho for the war, for the war. The wounded fox to its cave in the hill, and the blood-dyed wolf to the snow waste chill, and the mangled elk to the wildwood rill, sing ho for the price of war. The nest queen harks to a master's hurts, sing ho for the wounds of war. And the she-fox busies with woodland warts, sing ho for the end of war. The she-wolf staunches the warm red flood, and the doe is besmeared with the spurting blood, for 'tis ever the weak that must help the strong, though they have no part in the triumph song, and the glory is brief as the work is long, sing ho for the saints of war. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Faith by H. L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by DebK. The God that guided Moses across the desert sand, the God that unter Jonah put out a helping hand, the God that saved these famous men from death on land and sea, can spare a minute now and then to take a peep at you and me. The God of old man Adam and Father Abraham, of Joshua and Isaiah, of lion and of lamb, of kings and queens and potentates and chaps of pedigree, won't put a bar across the gate when Gabriel toots for you and me. The God that made the ocean and painted up the sky, the God that sets us livin' and takes us when we die, is just the same to every man of high or low degree, and no one's better treated than poor little you and little me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Ballad of Ships in Harbor by Henry Louis Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Clatter of shears and derrick, rattle of box and bale, the ships of the earth are at their docks, back from the world-round trail, back from the wild waste northward, back from the wind and the lee, back from the ports of east and west, back from the undersea. Here is a bark from Rio, back and away she steals. Here from her trip is a clipper ship that showed the sea her heels. South to the Galapagos, down due south to the Horn, and up by the windward passageway, on the breath of the balm wind borne. There, standing down the channel with a smoke wake o'er her rail, is a ship that goes to Zanzibar along the world-round trail. Ere 7 suns have kissed her, she may pound on Quoddy Head, a surf-tossed speck of melting wreck, deep freighted with her dead. And see the gaunt Norwegian, greasy, grimy, and black. She sails today for Yedo Bay. Who knows but she comes not back? And there is a low-decked Briton, and yonder a white-winged Dane. Oh, a song for the ships that put to sea and come not back again. Clatter of shears and derrick, rattle of box and bale, the ships of the earth are home today, tomorrow they shall sail. Cleared for the dawn and the sunset, cleared for the wind and the lee, whirled round and back by the Olden track, playthings of the sea. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Orf'cer Boy by H.L. Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by DebK. He was a grand boy. Mulvaney. Now he aren't got no whiskers, and he's only 5 foot high. All the same, he's an officer boy of the Queen. Oh, his voice is like a lady's, and he's so polite and shy. All the same, he serves Her Majesty the Queen. It is only about a year ago he left his mother's knee. It is only about a month ago he come across the sea. It is only about a week that he's been a-leadin' me. That's the way he serves Her Majesty the Queen. He is such a little chappie, being only 5 foot high, that you'd wonder how his likes could serve the Queen. You would think that when he heard the guns, he'd just set down and cry, a-forgettin' everythink about the Queen. But by all that's good and holy, you'd be extraordinary wrong, because he doesn't like no singin' half as good as the Gratlin's song, and he fights as though he'd been fightin' 20 times as long as any other man that serves the Queen. If you'd seen him when we got to where the mudder's deep and wet, you'd 'a knowed he was an Orf'cer Boy of the Queen. There's a dozen of the enemy that ain't forgot him yet, for he run his sword clean through 'em afore the Queen. Oh, he aren't much on whiskers, and he aren't much on height, and a year or 2 ago he was a-learnin' for to write, but you bet your solder shillin' he's the devil in a fight, and he'd die to serve Her Majesty the Queen. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Filipino Maiden by H.L. Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. Her father we've chased in the jungle, and her brother is full of our lead. Her uncles and cousins in yellow half-dozens we've tried to induce to be dead. And while we have shot at their shadows, they've done the same favor for us. But by George, she's so sweet that we'd rather be beat than to have her mixed up in the fuss. Oh, isn't her blush like the roses? And aren't her eyes like the stars? And whenever she smiles, don't you think you are miles from the rattle and roar of the wars? Would you take the 3 stars of a general if she'd say, "Leave the stars and take me"? Oh, we've stolen sweet kisses from thousands of misses, but hers are the sweetest that be. Her name may be Alo or Nina, or Zanez or Lama Lalu. She may smoke the cigars of the Chino bazaars and prefer black Maduros to you. She may speak a wild 6-cornered lingo and say that your Spanish is queer, But you'll never mind this when she gives you a kiss and calls you her soldier, poor dear. Oh, isn't her blush like the roses? And aren't her eyes like the stars? And whenever she smiles, don't you think you are miles from the rattle and roar of the wars? Would you take the 3 stars of a general if she'd say, "Leave the stars and take me"? Oh, I've stolen sweet kisses from thousands of misses, but hers are the sweetest for me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Violet by Henry Louis Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. As in the first pale flush of coming dawn we see a promise of the glorious sun, so in the violet's misty blue is drawn a shadowy likeness of the days to be, the days of cloudless skies and poesy, when winter's done. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Tin-clads by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. The small gunboats captured from the Spaniards and facetiously called Tin-clads by the men of the land forces are of great value in the offensive operations against the insurgents along the coast. Manila Dispatch. Their draft is 1.5 feet, and 1.5 feet is their speed. Their bows are as blunt as the stern of a punt, and their boilers are wonders of greed. Their rudders are always on strike. Their displacement is 32 tons. They are armored with tin, to the dishpan they're kin, but their Maxims are A number ones. Ask Aggie. Their Maxims are murderous guns. When from out the towns and villages, and out the jungle too, we have chased the Filipinos on the run. Toward the river swamps they foot it, towards the swamps we can't go through, and we're doubtful if we've lost the fight or won. Then when all are safe in hiding, in the slimy mud and reeds, from the river across the swamp we hear a sound. It's the sputter and the rattle of the automatic feeds on the tin-protected cruisers, how they pound. Sweet sound. They that save us being losers, rah, the tin-protected cruisers, hear their rattling Maxims pound, pound, pound. When the guns have done their work, and the Tagals come our way, I admit they much prefer us to the guns. Why, we finish up what's left, 10 in every dozen lay, dead as Noah in the swampy pools and runs. Then the Maxims stop their rattle, and we know that midst the reeds, 100 Filipinos on the ground are a-looking at the sky with a glassy, sightless eye, and the other half, or most of them, are drowned. 'Twas the tin-protected cruisers, how they pound. Sweet sound. They that saved us being losers, rah, the tin-protected cruisers, how their rattling Maxims pound, pound, pound. Their draft is 1.5 feet, and 1.5 feet is their speed. Their bows are as blunt as the stern of a punt, and their engines are wonders indeed. Their rudders are always on strike. Their bunkers hold 2 or 3 tons. They are armored with tin, to the meat can they're kin, but their Maxims are A number ones. Ask Aggie. Their Maxims are murderous guns. Go ask him. Their Maxims are death's younger sons. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
September by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. A dash of scarlet in the darkening green, a minor echo in the night wind's wail, and faint and low the swirling boughs between, at last sad carol of the nightingale. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Arabesque by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. Arabesque, an English version of an old Turkish lyric. The tinkling sound of the camel's bell comes softly across the sand, and the nightingale by the garden well still warbles his saraband. But the night goes by, and the dawn winds blow from the glimmering east and the hills of snow, and I wait, sweetheart, I wait alone for a smile from thee, my own. Awake ere the gong of the muezzin peals forth for another day, ere its loveless barren toil begin, but a smile from you I pray, but a smile from your soul enslaving eyes, as brightly dark as the midnight skies, but a smile I pray. Awake, sweetheart, awake, my own, my own. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Ballad of Protest by H.A. Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by Drew Conway, Kent. To the address of Master Rudyard Kipling, Poetaster. For long unenjoyed we've heard you sing of politics and army bills, of money lust and cricketing, of clothes and fear and other things. Meanwhile the palm trees and the hills have lacked a bard to voice their lay. Poet, ere time your lyre string stills, sing us again of Mandalay. Unsung the east lies glimmering, unsung the palm trees toss their frills, unsung the seas their splendours fling, the while you prate of law and tills. Each man his destiny fulfills. Can it be yours to lose and stray, in sophist garb to waste your quills? Sing us again of Mandalay. Sing us again in rhymes that ring, in master voice that lives and thrills. Sing us again of wind and wing, of temple bells and jingle thrills. And if your Pegasus ever wills to lead you down some other way, go bind him in those olden thills. Sing us again of Mandalay. Master, regard the plaint we bring, and hearken to the prayer we pray. Lay down your law and sermoning. Sing us again of Mandalay. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Frivolous Rondeau by H.L. Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by Drew Conway, Kent. I could rehearse a lyric verse, the Hesperides. A lyric verse I'll make for you, fair damsel that the many woo. 'Twill be a sonnet on your fan, that aid to love from quaint Japan, and true with rhyme with eyes of blue. Ah, me, if you but only knew the toil of setting out to hew from words, as I shall try to do, a lyric verse. Fleet metric's ghosts I must pursue, and dim rhyme apparitions too, but yet 'tis joyfully I scan, and reckon rhymes, and think and plan, for there's no cheaper present than a lyric verse. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Rhymes of Mistress Dorothy by H.L. Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. The Rhymes of Mistress Dorothy, Roundel. Bemauled by every hurrying churl, and deafened by the city's brawl, a helmless craft I helpless swirl adown the street. With battered hat I trip and sprawl, and like a toy teetotum swirl, to end my strugglings with a fall. But what care I for knock and whirl? Egad, I heed them not at all, for here comes Dolly, sweetheart girl, adown the street. Triolet. The light that lies in Dolly's eyes is sun and moon and stars to me. It dims the splendor of the skies, the light that lies in Dolly's eyes, and me ward shining testifies that Dolly's mine for e'er to be, The light that lies in Dolly's eyes is sun and moon and stars to me. Roundelay. Oh, Dolly is my treasury. What more of wealth could I desire? Her lips are rubies set for me, and there between, sweet property, a string of pearls to smiles conspire. With Dolly as my treasury, what more of wealth could I desire? And when have men of alchemy yet dreamed of gems like those I see in Dolly's eyes as flashing fire they bid the envious world admire? Oh, Dolly is my treasury, what more of wealth could I desire? And then her hair, there cannot be such gold beyond the purple sea as this of mine unpriced and free. Oh, Dolly is my treasury, my sweetheart and my heart's desire. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Few Lines by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. A Few Lines. Few roses like your cheeks are red, few lilies like your brow are fair, few vassals like your slave are led, few roses like your cheeks are red. Few dangers like your frown I dread, few rubies to your lips compare, few roses like your cheeks are red, few lilies like your brow are fair. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Rondeau of 2 Hours by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. A Rondeau of 2 Hours. It's a cinch. Plato. From 4 to 6 milady fair is chic and sweet and debonair, for then it is, with smiles and tea, she fills the chappy mob with glee. The jays but come to drink and stare. A rose is nestled in her hair, like Cupid lurking in his lair. Few of the jays remain heart-free from 4 to 6. Oh, let them come, I would not care if all the men on earth were there, for when they go she smiles on me, and just because she loves me, she makes all the ringers take their share from 4 to 6. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. An Ante-Christmas Rondeau by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. An Ante-Christmas Rondeau. 'Tis a sad story, mates. Marie Corelli. It's up to me, the winds are chill, and snow clouds drift from o'er the hill. At dawn the rime is on the grass, at 5 o'clock we light the gas, and long gone is the daffodil. Jack Frost draws flowers upon the glass, and blasts the growing ones, alas! Whene'er he comes to scar and kill, it's up to me. I run not in the croaker class, but when I see the autumn pass, of crushing woes I have my fill, to buy a Christmas gift for Jill. A hoard of gold I must amass, it's up to me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Roundel by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. Roundel. If love were all, and we could cheat all gods but Cupid of their due, our joy in life would be complete. We'd only live that we might woo, instead as now that we might eat, and every lover would be true, if love were all. Yet if we found our bread and meat in kisses it would please but few, soon life would grow a cloying sweet, if love were all. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. In Vaudeville by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. In Vaudeville. In vaudeville the elder jest remains the one that's loved the best, for 'tis the custom of the stage to venerate and honor age, and look upon the old as blessed. Originality's a pest that artists labor hard to best. Conservatism is the rage in vaudeville. The artist's arms are here expressed, a slapstick argent as a crest. It is an ancient heritage. A seltzer siphon gules the wage of newness is a lengthy rest in vaudeville. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Rondeau of Riches by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. If I were rich and had a store of gold doubloons and louis d'or, a treasure for a pirate crew, then I would spend it all for you, my heart's delight and conqueror. About your feet upon the floor 10,000 rubies I would pour, regardless of expense I'd woo if I were rich. But as I'm not, I can but soar mid fancy's heights and ponder o'er the things that I would like to do, and as I pass them in review, it strikes me that you'd love me more if I were rich. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. In Eating Soup by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. In eating soup, it's always well to make an effort to excel the unregenerate who sop with bread the last surviving drop, as if to them but one befell. And if it burn you, do not yell, or stamp, or storm, or say, "Oh, well!" From social grandeur you may flop in eating soup. And if the appetizing smell upon you cast a witch's spell to drain your plate, pray do not stop, and please, I pray you, do not slop. A gurgling sounds a social knell in eating soup. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Love and the Rose by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. Love and the Rose. The thorn lives but to shield the rose. Coquetry may but shelter love. This consolation hope bestows. The thorn lives but to shield the rose. Though blood from many a thorn wound flows, I'll pluck the rose that blows above. The thorn lives but to shield the rose. Coquetry may but shelter love. Love me more or not at all. Half a rose is less than none. Hear the wretch you hold in thrall. Love me more or not at all. Dilettante love will pall. I would have you wholly one. Love me more or not at all. Half a rose is less than none. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Rondeau of Statesmanship by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by Michaelanthony Mitchell. In politics, it's funny how a man may tell you one thing now, and say tomorrow that he meant to voice a different sentiment, and vow a very different vow. The writ and spoken laws allow each individual to endow his words with underground intent in politics. Thus he who leads in verbal prowess sports the laurel on his brow. So, if you wish to represent the acme of the eminent, learning lying ere you make your bow in politics. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Songs of the City by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. 1. Auroral. Another day comes journeying with the sun. The east grows ghastly with the dawning's gleam, and ere the dark has flown and night is done, the alley pavements with their many teem. Another day of toil and grief and pain. Life surely seems not sweet to such as these. Yet they live toiling that they may but gain the right to life and all life's miseries. 2. Madrigal. Ah, what were all the running brooks from ocean side to ocean side, and what were all the chattering wrens that wake the wood with song, and what were all the roses red in all the flowery meadows wide, and what were all the fairy clouds that cross the heavens' throng, and what were all the joys that bide in meadow, wood, and down, to me, if I were at your side within the joyless town? 3. Within the city gates. We can but dream of murmuring rills, mad racing down the wooded hills of meadow, flowers, and balmy days, when robin sings his amorous lays. And lost among the city's ways, to us is not given to gaze in wonder as the morning haze lifts from the sea of daffodils. Of all but those on window sills we can but dream. 4. April. At dawn a gay gallant comes to the eaves, and trills a song unto his lady fair, and then above the reach of boyish thieves a building nest sways in the balmy air. One day a flower upon a window sill puts forth a bud, and as its beauty grows, the sun, gay prodigal, with life light glows, the while he reads the doom of storms and snows, and then there comes the springtime's thrill. 5. The coming of winter. A chill damp west wind and a heavy sky, with clouds that merge in one gray darkling sea. The last red leaves of autumn flutter by, rest from the dead twigs of the street-side tree. And then there comes an eddying cloud of white, first dim, then blotting everything below. Up to the eaves the sparrows haste in flight, and thus upon the town descends the snow. 6. The snow. A song of birds adown a mine's dark galleries, a scent of roses mid a waste of moor and fen, a gush of sparkling waters from the desert sands. So comes the snow upon the town, an alien. 7. Nocturne. How like a warrior on the battlefield the city sleeps, with brain awake and eyes that know no closing. Ere the first star dies, it rises from its slumber, and with shield in hand, full ready for the fray, goes forth to meet the day. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Madrigal by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. A Madrigal. How can I choose but love you, maid of the witching smile? Your eyes are as blue as the skies above you. How can I choose but love you, you and your witching smile? For the red of your lips is the red of the rose, and the white of your brows is the white of the snows, and the gold of your hair is the splendor that glows when the sun gilds the east at morn. And the blue of your eyes is the blue of the skies of an orient day new born. And your smile has a charm that is balm to the soul, and your paw has a barrel and a many plunk roll. So how can I choose but love you, love you, love you, love you, love you? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Ballad of Looking by H.L. Mencken. Read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. A Ballad of Looking. He looked into her eyes, and there he saw no trace of that bright gleam which poets say comes from the fairy orb of love's sweet day. No blushing coyness causes her to withdraw her gaze from his. He looked, and yet he knew no joy, no whirling numbness of the brain, no quickening heartbeat. Then he looked again, and once again, unblushing, she looked too. He looked into her eyes with interest. He stared at them through a magnifying prism, for he was but an oculist, and she was being treated for astigmatism. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
When the Pipe Goes Out by Henry Louis Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. A maiden's heart and sighs profuse, a father's foot, and what's the use? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Paradox by H.L. Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by BettyB. A Paradox. Dan Cupid drew his little bow, and straight ye arrow from it flew. Although its course was rather low, I thought 'twould pass above my head. In stature I am short, you know. But soon upon my breast a stain of blood appeared, and showed ye mark. Whereat ye boy God took his aim. I staggered, groaned, and then I smiled. Egad, it was a pleasant pain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Song of the Slapstick by H.L. Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by Michaelanthony Mitchell. Why is a hen? Kerflop! Haw-haw! Toot goes the slide trombone. Why is a hen? And a swat in the jaw, and the ushers laugh alone. Why is a bang? Is a biff? Ho-ho! Boom goes the sad French horn. Why is a hen? Kerflop! Do you know? And the paid admissions mourn. Why is a hen? Yes, no? Kerflop? Bang goes the man at the drum. Why is a hen? And a knock at the top, and the press agent stricken dumb. Why is a thud? Is a flop? Is a hen? Hark how the supers laugh. Why is a bing, bang, boom, and then the slapsticks bust in half. Curtain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Il Penseroso by H.L. Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by Michaelanthony Mitchell. Love's song is sung in ragtime now, and kisses sweet are syncopated joys. The tender sign, the melancholy moan, the soft reproach, and yearning upturned gaze have passed into the caves without the gates, and in their place, to serve love's purposes, bold profanations from the music halls are working overtime. In days of old, the amorous swain would sigh, and say unto his lady love, the while he pressed her to his heaving low-cut vest, Dost love me, sweet? And she, with many a blush, would softly answer, Yes, my cavalier. Now to his girl the ragtime lover says, the while he strums his marked-down mandolin, Is you my lady love? And she, his girl, makes answer thus, I is. Gadzooks, it makes me sad. I see the doom of Cupid, and upon the battered air I hear a rumor floating. It is this, that when the boy-god shuffles to the grave, 'tis syncopated Sambo that will get his job. Ah me, what sadness resteth on my soul. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Finis by Henry Louis Mencken, read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. There was a man that delved in the earth for glittering gems and gold, and whatever lay hidden that seemed of worth he carefully seized and sold. So his days were long and his store was great, and ever for more he sighed, till kings bowed down and he ruled in state, and after a while he died. O blithesome and shrill the wails resound, O gaily his children moan, and the end of it all was a hole in the ground and a scratch on a crumbling stone. There was a man that fought for the right, and never a friend had he, till after the dark there dawned the light, and the world could know and see. Oh, long was the fight and comfortless, but great was the fighter's pride, and a victor he rose from the storm and stress, and after a while he died. Oh, great was the fame, but newly found, of the man that fought alone, and the end of it all was a hole in the ground, and a scratch on a crumbling stone. There was a man that dreamed a dream, and his pen it served his brain, and great was his art, and great his theme, and long was his laurelled reign. But after a while the world forgot, and his work was pushed aside, for to serve and wait is the mortal lot, and then in the end he died. Oh, brown on his brow were the bays that bound, and far was his glory flown, and the end of it all was a hole in the ground, and a scratch on a crumbling stone. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. End of Ventures into Verse by Henry Louis Mencken.